hold these, and then you just push down. Yeah, there you go. You can kind of just guide yourself down. Well, there's locks over here. I have it kind of hanging down, but I can make it closer, but you have to come up if you want it to not go as far. Right now I have it third to the most, so it'll go for a while, and then it goes right there. That's how I have it, the angle that it is. I hold it, just be careful because I don't know 100% and I'm like that.
Oh my god, that full stretch, dude.
Yeah, that's why for me it kind of hurt. Well, I hold on because doing a full stretch actually kind of hurts for me.
Really?
I think it's because that lower part's what's fucked up, so I think stretching, so I kind of hold this a little bit. So I'm noticing when I put too much, when you want to get up, you just hold this and you just kind of guide your way up. But it's like, the part that hurts is because when I lean back, like this, is where it hurts, like the part. And because of these, you're like really, you're like really like kind of like straight, you know what I mean?
Am I good? Is this the farthest you go now?
No, there's two more.
You go further?
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, I have it locked already to this angle.
Oh.
So like if you want to go further, you have to go up and then I can adjust it. You want to do more?
Yeah.
Okay. See, like right there, you see how like your ankles are like behind sort of, and that's what fucks up because my back is like this, so it's like hurts to go up. Alright, you go all the way? Yeah. So you gotta like unscrew it. You unscrew it and then actually, yeah, just be careful. So okay, so I think 85 would be the highest. The good thing is you put it in there and then you screw it, so it's like really in there.
I'm going max. Max inversion, baby.
And just careful with this. I kind of moved this so you're good. So it should hit that.
Max inversion. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Woo. Holy.
How does it feel?
Oh, bro.
I'm scared to do that much because that other one kind of.
Oh.
Does that actually feel good? Worth it or what?
I don't know. See how I feel.
They say like people would want for like 4 minutes at the beginning, and then they work their way maybe to like 9 minutes. You feel pretty secure at this or what?
Yeah. I'm just like breathing, just letting like all the tension out.
Good thing you're right here, because yeah, even though my stuff, I get kind of stuck. I can't do that far though. Putting all that strain down in the lower part fucks it. Or at least it hurts.
Probably just hurts because today it hurts.
Probably. Maybe that's what I'm hoping over time it maybe. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave it where it was. It's just the getting up part kind of hurts because, yeah.
Or does it give me some height?
Good if it rejuvenates your things, it can be like
Give me a fucking edge, baby.
Yeah, I was even thinking about like moving like the couch whenever I do it, and like so I can like see outside.
Yeah, upside down. I can see upside down. How long does this thing do for?
However you want, honestly, but I mean you're upside down, so all your blood's going up there. But I think people usually start at like 4 minutes and maybe work their way to like 9 minutes. Yeah, so you just sit there for 4 minutes.
My ankles are kind of getting a little sore.
Does it hurt?
It hurt me.
Really?
Yeah. Well, not the hanging down part doesn't hurt that much. It's like it goes slow. Yeah. See what I mean? And my shit's fucked up.
No, my back hurt. I'm so lightheaded.
Okay. Do you want it all the way to like him or? Because when I first showed him,
Just keep your hands up just in case it breaks, okay?
What?
Yeah.
because when I
Tie
first,
your shirt in so your things.
I just what's the problem?
Someone titty slipping off.
okay.
Ooh.
So you sit and you like stand on this thing,
Scared.
Careful, Jack.
and then you're gonna once you get in there, you're gonna pull this up, and then you adjust it.
I'm scared.
Okay.
Wait.
It's not gonna come back like that. You have to actually push it. So this is
Wait. What do I do?
so pull this, then pull up, and so you can adjust your feet. So you can lock
Can
them
you
in.
do it for me?
I mean, I can't know what's snug though for you because you want to make sure it's like
Oh.
actually gonna hold you like that. And then so Are you holding it? Go down
My
here.
back hurts today.
So hold down here. Yeah, I can put it so it's like a 65-degree reverse or however.
Just in case you fall, just make sure your hands are there.
So you hold them like back over here because you're gonna like push down a little bit. Just go slow. Yeah. I mean, I could do it, but it's probably better you just know how to do it. You just push down.